American dream. To his last breath, he'll always be a soldier.
Heard on great radio stations all across America. It's the National Defense with Randy Miller and Jerry Newberry.
The National Defense is made possible by Ford. Go further. By the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. By VSP. For more information on how VSP can help you and your corrective vision needs, visit VSP.com. By Morgan Stanley. Discover how they can help you achieve your long-term financial goals at morganstanley.com. By the Wounded Warrior Project. Serving those who've sacrificed for over 15 years. Online at woundedwarriorproject.org. By WD-40 Company. Wherever there's a job to be done, WD-40 brand offers solutions to help you live life hands-on. By Farmers Insurance. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. Find an agent at farmers.com. And by Gorilla Glue, makers of Gorilla Tape for the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
This is the National Defense. Randy Miller along with Jerry Newberry. As always, our dedication.
Hey, this show's for you, the men and women serving on active duty in the Guard and Reserves. It's for the millions of veterans out there, and it's for all their families. We're here for you. We love you. God bless you.
And Jerry, our old buddy, passed away. It's unbelievable to even think about it, but he did live for 112 years.
He sure did, and man, he lived.
Richard Overton.
Yep.
Who was the oldest living veteran, 112 years old.
And last time we talked to him, he was smoking cigars.
Smoked 12 cigars a day and had a little bit of whiskey in his coffee every morning.
And a lot of girlfriends.
He never comped to the girlfriend, though. There was always a woman that answered the phone.
Yeah.
And he lived in Austin, Texas, and always a woman answered the phone and would say, "Richard, is that your girlfriend?" "Oh, now that's not my girlfriend now."
Yeah.
That's my woman friend.
Yeah.
I think that's how he described her. But what a great guy. And just remembered every detail about his service.
Yep.
Which is amazing.
Very, very colorful gentleman. And I'm so happy we had the opportunity to speak to him more than one occasion.
Oh, yeah. We tried to call him every birthday.
Yeah, but it's sad. I mean, not only because he was a good guy, but what he represented, the World War II generation.
Right.
You know, that's not too many of them left.
Yeah. The cool thing everybody's taking notice now. You know, there were a lot of people who knew about Richard, and there was actually a documentary done on his life.
Somebody stole his identity not that long ago. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. Cleaned out
what an idiot.
Cleaned out his account.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's some
oh my gosh,
low life.
Well,
anyway.
a cool thing that Google Maps just did, because he was known around Austin, Texas, he would just sit out on his porch, and people would come by, and he'd talk to everybody. And so Google Maps just, I think this week, they went back. You know how you can do the street level view?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They put him back in the street level view, sitting on his porch.
Good.
That's pretty cool.
Good. Yeah, he was good. What a guy.
Well, so we're going to play back for you. This is one of the conversations we had. I mean, every time we've talked to him, he's been over 100 years old.
Yeah.
But sharp as a tack. Rest in peace.
As a matter of fact, first time we talked to him, probably about 12 years ago, 13 years ago when we first started the show.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he just about outlived the show.
Yeah.
He's outlived every... Richard Overton, thank you so much.
We were neck and neck there for a while.
I know, right? Exactly. What a great guy.
Yeah, rest in peace, brother.
Mr. Overton?
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Doing good. Listen, it's an honor to talk to you. It's just a privilege and something that I don't think I've ever imagined talking to somebody who's 107 years old. But you told me this morning that you're going to be 108 here pretty soon.
I will. May 11th, I'll be 108.
When's your birthday?
May 11, 1906.
Wow. That's just amazing. And so you're smoking. How many cigars a day do you smoke?
I smoke 12 or 13, something like that. 12
cigars a day. And you told me this morning that you already look better than I do.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you smoke better cigars than Randy does.
That's right.
Is that what I I said I look better than you do?
That's right, exactly.
Oh, Lord, I don't know how you look yet.
Hey,
look at you.
You don't want to look at
No,
it.
you don't.
Trust
no,
me on
no. Hey, what? So you have a little whiskey in your coffee every morning too, huh?
Yeah, I put whiskey in my coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Drink a little and 7-Up at night before I go to bed.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and you sleep real good. It pushes you to sleep, and you don't have to twist and turn. You just go to sleep. In the morning, that way, why it sure do help you through the day. Hit the muscles.
well, and you're not any stranger to work either. I mean, the thing I saw about you on the news, you're out there sweeping. You're out. You're doing stuff all day, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I work all the time. I'm still working. I get out here and drive my car and get my license, and I just work whenever, just like I do when I was 40 years old. But I don't have the energy that I had. I kind of give out a little bit. But I don't let that worry me. I just keep on moving.
Well, I don't know. You got pretty good energy if you got an 89-year-old lady friend.
Yeah, I know. I don't have no lady friend. I have a friend.
Oh, okay, a friend. I'm sorry. So what happened now when you were on the news, and this is what your friend Alan was telling me, that you mentioned about the 12 cigars a day, you mentioned about the whiskey. All of a sudden, packages started showing up at your door, didn't they?
Package, yeah, sure did.
Yeah.
What? I mean, I got cigars galore. I used to have so many cigars that I had to give them away. They're too big for my mouth. I smoke it smaller. I got a small mouth, big mouth, but small cigar.
And he's still driving at 107.
I caught that. Yeah.
What kind of car do you have, Mr. Overton?
I have a Ford truck and a Monte Carlo 71. Both of them 71.
Uh-huh.
And Monte Carlo is for sale. 5,000.
5,000. Well, what is it? I mean, besides the cigars and the whiskey and the working, what is it that keeps you going to 107?
Oh, I don't inhale the cigars. I just smoke and blow. I just light them and blow the smoke. I don't swallow that smoke at all.
Right.
No, you can't swallow that because your lungs won't take it. Well, not a cigar.
So what is the secret though to living to 107?
Well, I just go ahead on and just keep on going. It's because God got something to do with that.
Yeah.
Man ain't got nothing to do with it. He can talk about it, but he can't handle it.
That's right. That's exactly right. Can you tell us a little bit about your military service?
About my what?
About the military service.
Military service? Well, I've been in there, I think, 4 or 5 years, something like that. I just remember how many years. But I enjoyed it. I went overseas several times and got all tied up in different different places. You know how a soldier do. You never know where you're going. Yeah. But I was lucky to get out of every bit of it. And I was shot at and shot at. And I've been shooting at people. You shoot at me, you shoot back at them.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And so anyway, I didn't get a scratch on me. And I was here in World War I for a long time.
World War II?
No, World War I. I was here, too. I went to see World War I. When the soldiers, I think it's 5,000, come over from San Antonio back on, when they opened up Camp Mabie in Austin here. You remember when they opened up Camp Mabie?
Yeah.
Well, that's when I seen all those soldiers cross the river bridge. They walked from San Antonio to Austin. And I can't find anybody to say that they seen them people.
That's when you were a kid.
Yeah. They would walk here. See, too many to put on train. It take a day and a night, I think, to walk here.
Wow.
And some of them fell out and some of them didn't. Most of them walked here. When they got here, they put all the guns down and stacked them like you usually stack them, 4 or 5 in a row. And they got walking over town. They walked over town plumb until late that evening. And then they called them in, and they picked up them guns and lined up and went out to Camp Mabie. And that's when Camp Mabie opened up. You know where Camp Mabie is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's when they opened up Camp Mabie. I was here that day. I must have been about 12, 13 years old then. Because me and my daddy come over here from the country. So is that when you decided you wanted to get in the military? No, I didn't decide I wanted to get in there at all. I went on, I had to live till I got World War II. When I got up to 18, and I went ahead and married. When I got 18, I helped take care of my mother and the kids. My sister and brother. I had 6 sisters and 4 brothers.
Wow.
With myself. So I taken care of them. And anyway, after I married her, I lived with her 8 years, and then I turned around and married again. And then Uncle Sam called me.
So how did you like your experience in the military? How did you like your experience in the military? Was it a good time?
I liked it all right after you got used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, a lot of people didn't like it because they didn't know what to do, but I know how to take care of myself.
So what did you do when you got out of the military? What have you been doing since then?
I went right back. I was here a week, and I worked for Louis Gage at the furniture company for years. And so I worked for a Jew down there on 4th Street for years. But anyway, when I come back, he let me stay off a week. I wasn't intending to work at all.
Right.
But he let me stay off a week and called me back to work. And I went back to work at the same furniture company store that I was with before I left.
So we're talking to Richard Overton. He's 107 years old in Austin, Texas. Mr. Overton, I heard you got a special visitor after you were on the news. The governor showed up one day, huh?
Oh, yeah, he came one day and brought me I bought me whiskey and a box of cigars.
Some whiskey and a box of cigars. And sat out on the...
I haven't opened the whiskey yet.
Sat out on the porch with you and talked. Hey, what kind of cigar are you smoking there?
Oh, just any kind of cigar. I smoke Tampa Sweet now. Because they fit in my mouth, but there are all these that they sent me, they too big.
Too big for your mouth. Yeah.
He likes those Tampa Sweets.
Yeah.
Right.
Tampa Sweets. I get 6 of them in a box for $4. I buy 3 boxes at a time.
Oh man, you are great. We're going to make it out to see you, Mr. Overton. Thanks again for being on.
Yes, sir. If you come to Austin, you'll be sure don't go back unless you do come to see me.
You got it. You have a great day. Okay.
Okay. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too. How about that guy?
Oh man, what
a
character!
I could talk to him for 3 hours.
Man.
We'll be right back in the National Defense right after this word from Farmers Insurance. When you're dealing with life's ups and downs, it helps to know the ins and outs of insurance. Farmers Insurance has been sharing practical insurance knowledge for more than 89 years. At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. Find an agent at farmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Hi, this is Kelsey Grammer. When military service members head into battle, none are expected to face the enemy alone, but many return home and become isolated as they struggle with the visible and invisible wounds of war. It can be difficult knowing how to overcome that challenge and rekindle bonds similar to those formed in the military. Wounded Warrior Project supports these injured veterans through their recoveries by connecting them with fellow warriors and their communities. No one should fight this battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
The Store More Save More event is going on now at the Home Depot, and it's the perfect time to get a handle on clutter. Even better, get an HDX 27-gallon storage tote, a special buy at just $8.98 each. They're tough, they're stackable, and each one can hold 75 pounds. That's some heavy-duty storage without the heavy-duty price. The Store More Save More event is going on now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through February 4th. Available in-store and online while supplies last.
This portion of the National Defense is brought to you by Gorilla Glue, the makers of Gorilla Tape. Gorilla Tape has a tough, reinforced backing and is made with double-thick adhesive that grips to smooth, rough, and uneven surfaces. With a weather-resistant shell, Gorilla Tape can be used both indoors and out, which is perfect for applications in the field, including duck blinds, tree stands, and tent repairs. Gorilla Tape and Gorilla Glue for the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
We're standing guard with the truth. The National Defense.
Welcome back into the National Defense. I'm Randy Miller, and Kurt Nedenrip is here, Morgan Stanley Wealth Advisor, with another Morgan Stanley Money Brief. Kurt, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Randy. Thank you.
All right, we're getting into this. We're trying to learn. You're helping us kind of through this financial picture. In the last two segments, we talked about were the key life stages that most veterans will transition through. And last week, we zeroed in on the first stage, which is the military career. What are we going to talk about this week?
Well, this week, let's talk about the civilian career.
Yeah.
And, after we wrap up that military career, some folks might go in and only serve 4 years. Some might do 20 plus. But after that, just about everybody's going to have another civilian career after the military career.
Yeah. And that's so important. What kind of things do you focus on with the civilian career?
Well, when we think about the military command structure, it's shaped much like a pyramid. A lot of enlisted personnel, junior NCOs, junior officers at the bottom, and each step up the chain of command, it gets smaller and smaller. So, we've got fewer E6s and E5s and
right.
so forth. So what that means is that most people are going to step out, jump into that civilian career. So we think that our young veterans that leave service prior to 20 years should focus on 5 key action items in this life stage. The first one, plan and budget for your post-military transition. Not going to be a surprise when you leave, so utilize all the transition services available to create and perfect your resume, conduct mock interviews, those kinds of things, so that you're ready for that job when you step outside. You want to set a transition budget that's heavy on penny pinching, light on discretionary spending, because it can take longer than you think to find that right civilian job, even with the preparation that we talked about. So you don't want to deplete that hard-earned money in your savings and investments during that transition. And then finally, in that first segment there, seek the assistance of a qualified financial advisor to help you determine what might be best suited for your situation and make sure that you haven't overlooked things in that planning process.
So, Kurt, let's talk a little bit about insurance coverage. That's something that, you kind of forget about. You don't think about a lot, but it's got to be maintained, right?
Absolutely, Randy. And that's the second action item, is that we've got to make sure that insurance coverage is maintained and that the costs are factored into your career decisions. So, again, some people might focus on whether or not one stock is going to outperform the other,
right.
But that can be minuscule compared to the cost of insurance. So we want to make sure that when you're looking at those civilian careers, you're not just looking at what they're offering to pay you, but do they cover insurance for your family? And if they don't, what are those costs going to be? Mm-hmm. And then, of course, other types of insurance like disability, car insurance, and those kinds of things need to be maintained, because lack of those things can lead to financial disaster.
Well, and there's so many veterans, I think, that transition out to, Kurt, that kind of, everything's been covered for 20 years. Everything's been covered for 10 years. And then all of a sudden, you're out there and you got to find your own everything, right?
That's right, and that's why it's so important to have a plan as you leave the service so that those things don't fall through the gap. Now, the next action item we've got is we want to really invest for retirement. Now, we talked about that in the first stage, but during this stage, this is where you can really maximize some of the civilian programs that are out there, such as a company that has a 401k,
sure,
or any kind of defined contribution plan like that. So, for example, if you have a company that matches 3% of your pay, if you don't put that first 3% in, you're walking away from money that they're willing to put into that account for you. We also want to have you analyze any defined benefit plans. Those are things like pensions and so forth that may be offered by employers, and determine if that is right for you, if it's available, and also see how that factors into the other opportunities that you have to save and invest.
And just when you think you're done, there's college planning.
That's right. Yeah, I think you mentioned before that the needs of your children will last a long time.
Oh, yeah. It never stops. Right. How can people find out more about what they need to do with Morgan Stanley?
So for more information, veterans can go to morganstanley.com/veterans for some great stories about the veterans that work at Morgan Stanley, and for more information on all of the topics that we've just discussed.
Kurt Nedenrip, Morgan Stanley Wealth Advisor, here in the Morgan Stanley Money Brief. Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you so much, Randy.
We'll be back here next week with a brand new edition of the Morgan Stanley Money Brief on the National Defense.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. The information, views, and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily those of Morgan Stanley Wealth Management or its affiliates, but are those of the presenters and their guests. The information presented is current as of the original date of this broadcast. Neither the information provided nor any opinion expressed herein constitutes a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security. This radio program does not provide individually tailored advice. It has been prepared without regard to the individual financial circumstances and objectives of persons who receive it. The strategies discussed may not be suitable for all individuals. Morgan Stanley recommends that individuals independently evaluate particular strategies and encourages them to seek the advice of a financial advisor. The appropriateness of a particular strategy will depend on an individual individual's circumstances and objectives. Insurance products are offered in conjunction with Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC's licensed insurance agency affiliates. Tax laws are complex and subject to change. Morgan Stanley, its affiliates, and Morgan Stanley and financial advisors do not provide tax or legal advice and are not fiduciaries under ERISA, the Internal Revenue Code, or otherwise, with respect to the services or activities described herein, except as otherwise provided in writing by Morgan Stanley and or as described at www.morganstanley.com/disclosures/DOL. Individuals are encouraged to consult their tax and legal advisors, A, before establishing a retirement plan or account, and B, regarding any potential tax, ERISA, and related consequences of any investments made under such plan or account. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC.
Welcome into the National Defense. It's Randy Miller, and I am so honored to have Mr. Michael Bolton on the telephone. Michael, how are you?
Randy, I'm honored to be on the phone with you. I just got home. I have one more show tomorrow night.
Man.
And I'm not complaining. This is, as you know, going through radio so many years and what you've just described, it's such a steep, long climb, basically, to success. As a singer, I was signed when I was 16 to CBS Records, to Epic, and I thought I made it. And then 18 years later, I had my first hit.
Wow.
So we're not complaining 50 years later about touring the world and having an audience in Asia and Australia and name a continent,
Yeah.
It's just, I was just concerned about having enough full voice for this opportunity to thank our military.
Well, listen, you've done a lot of that through the years, and I don't know if you've done any USO tours, but I know you've visited bases, you've been around veterans your whole life, and it's special to you, isn't it?
It is. I haven't done tours. I've been tempted to, but
this counts.
I've done USO events.
This counts as a USO tour right now.
Well, I appreciate that. In 91. We did, I believe that was when we did the Voices That Care video for the Gulf War.
Yeah.
And, it was like everyone from New York and Hollywood, L.A., basically in one studio. Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Garth Brooks, like Luther Vandross.
Right.
And we did this video just to send our support to the troops, and I had no idea how much impact it was going to have. I started getting letters from people based all over the world, and I realized a lot of them are really young people, very far from home for the first time. And I swore that I would always remember to thank everybody serving more. And I'm talking about when I'm walking through airports or any opportunity if I recognize someone. Because, at the end of the day, whether you think America needs to be made great again or whether you think America's always great and always been great, we're nothing without our military, without our people serving the armed forces.
Yeah, and thank you.
We're nothing without them.
Thank you for saying that, Michael. We're talking to Michael Bolton here on the National Defense, and you're absolutely right. And that's the point that we always make with everybody that comes on this program. No matter how you feel about the country, the administration, the politics of it, there's one thing that we can all agree on is that we have to support the men and women in uniform. And especially, this time of year, this is why this is so very important and such a great thing for you to come on now, because we're not only heard on hundreds of radio stations in the United States, but we're also heard on Armed Forces Radio Network. So you got, there is no holiday for active duty military. But if they get a chance to take a break and hear Michael Bolton coming on and talking about them and kind of brightening up their day, man, it means the world.
I hope. I appreciate that, Randy, but I just appreciate the opportunity. I'm glad someone has brought this to my attention that I could do this and be home for a minute and actually find a landline.
Yeah, that's got to be a challenge for you.
A luxury.
Yeah, really.
A landline.
So can we talk about something very important like the big, sexy Valentine's Day special?
Sure.
You know, so
you
did this thing.
You have to go to where it started, though.
Okay, all right.
This is what a lot of people know me now when I'm again traveling through airports. If I get somebody 18 to 35, they're going to put their hand up for a high five for Captain Jack Sparrow. It's like, what about all my hits? What about the albums? What about 50 years in the business? Jack Sparrow, man, that's the gift that keeps on giving.
Well, but you are. That's the thing about you. I mean, you have evolved, and you've always had a great sense of humor. But I mean, to take something like this and become this Michael Bolton, the first person, and you're exactly right, 18 to 35. It's a whole legion of new fans. The first person to tell me about it was my daughter, who lives in Los Angeles, and she's like, "Dad, have you heard of this Michael Bolton guy?" And I go, "Yeah, kind of." I mean, it's hilarious and it's great.
That's the Lonely Island guys that you got to do credit. I mean, I always wanted to work with them for what they were creating for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
but they pitched me on the concept, and the first one was funny as hell, but it was so dark and nasty. I said, I can't do it because 80% of my fans will not appreciate your humor at this particular level.
Right.
And they said, we'll tweak it. We get it. And I thought they were just too busy and it was never going to happen. But over months, one day I was on my way to Atlanta to perform, and I got an email from Andy Samberg, and I opened it and I read it and I said, oh, this one I can do this. And I was so excited.
That's cool.
And then that blew up, and it's almost 200 million views.
Oh, I know.
And people like your daughter and my kids and their friends, they just love it. So I figured the troops are probably pretty well aware of it.
Absolutely.
Went over really well.
Absolutely. I mean, who gets a chance to kind of reimagine themselves, at some point and do something totally different than what you've been doing? But
I'm so grateful for that.
And I just saw an ad you did for Audible that is fantastic.
And I did that in Australia. Well, that's the other world, as you said, it's kind of, in a way, it's recreating or reinventing yourself. I've always, humor has always been really important to me. I always got in trouble in school for joking while the teachers were trying to teach.
Yep.
Couldn't find a class I couldn't get kicked out of.
Right.
But I found a way to use that in my life and in my career at a certain point after I worked all those years to be a serious musician, singer, and, worked with some of my greatest heroes, artists of my lifetime. I got the serious stuff done.
Yeah. And
the opportunity to have fun and still connect music to it is such a gift. It's really great.
Well, it's kind of like you're at that stage of your life now, and we're talking to Michael Bolton here on the National Defense. It's kind of like you're, okay, now I'll do what I want to do. Now, I mean, right?
Much more so. And that's where you were leading off with the big, sexy Valentine's Day special.
Yeah. That's so cool.
That was, again, through Akiva Schaffer, who was one of the Lonely Island guys. And he brought in Jorma and Andy Samberg, and the three of them, and then they invited friends. Next thing I knew, there were 25 pretty famous people in this Netflix special, and we were just having fun. And I want to do that. And at the same time, again, it's difficult for me to ramble too far from the whole point of this, and that's
sure.
And I've heard interviews and pieces of interviews by some pretty great people you've interviewed. You've come a long way since our softball game.
Well,
our competitive that you won. If you say you won,
I just have some better context now. Is
okay.
all, but
better context.
But it's funny though. You talk about that kind of a thing. We still have some celebrities that we reach out to that say, give us 5 minutes. Just come on and say thank you to the troops and be done. And for whatever reason, they can't find the time, they can't find the effort. And you just think, how can that be?
Yeah. There are a few questions about, being supportive enough, and making sure that resources, one thing that I've seen that I'm grateful for, and I hope it's translated the way I've seen it, is that the country has learned since Vietnam, the proper way to welcome our troops when they come home.
Right.
and what they've been through and what they expose themselves to, and their families' sacrifice for them to serve. This country has become much more aware, I think, of a level of gratitude that it's what I call a debt we can never repay.
Yeah, right.
And if you just start there, it's okay, so what can I do? I was thinking at some point I could do 15 minutes of Rodney Dangerfield on stage, and that would probably go over. Right. My own jokes, maybe not so much. It's probably best to just keep doing videos. But, I do hear that, and I know that people sincerely do it, but it's like, I know I've done several USO events. I've been to various fundraisers that were giving to troops coming home, various different banners and different names, but from Wounded Warriors to others that I was not familiar with.
Right.
Until a friend said, hey, Wednesday night they're doing this, thing, you want to show up with me? And I think just in general, that level of recognition that is shared with us, like remove politics.
Right.
And as you said, with that out of the way, the one thing that we all are equally united about is supporting our troops, supporting their families, and expressing our gratitude. We can't really do it too much. There is no too much expression. Sometimes people are uncomfortable. That I've met some people traveling who was stationed abroad. Like they're not quite prepared for it, and they don't want to give themselves the credit that we want to necessarily give them. But it's important that we do put it out there and that they know how grateful we are.
Just doing my job, sir.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's a lot of that, but we, I think we need to thank them anyway and continue to thank them and find other ways. I did an event with Gary Sinise. Gary Sinise is
he's unbelievable.
The poster child of supporting our troops.
Yeah, we've had Gary on the show several times, and he's just he's the real deal.
Yeah, and he's become one of my heroes because of his celebration and support and focus on the troops everywhere in the world.
Did you see where, and it's been all over Facebook, where he took 1,000 kids to Disney?
No.
1,000 kids that had lost a parent in combat and flew them to Disney World. I mean, okay.
All right, good. Right? Now you don't expect me to speak right after that.
Yeah, I mean, right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But and the politics aside thing, we invited Alec Baldwin on the show, and everybody goes, no, you want to Alec Baldwin? You don't
do Trump.
I got to tell you though,
I heard a bunch of that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, his dad was a drill sergeant. His dad was a drill instructor. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Who knew that? I mean, and sometimes when they're on this show, that's what comes out in those conversations. We had Tom Hanks came on and plugged nothing. He came on for 45 minutes, and we had to wrap it up. I mean, it's a different kind of, and that's why I enjoy doing this show so much, because you find out different sides of people, and especially that side that supports America, and that's that's cool.
Yeah, that's great. I can hear that you get a lot of gratification.
Oh, I do. I love it. And hey, Michael Bolton, how's your golf game?
Oh, golf game at this present time. I have not been playing enough to justify picking up the clubs.
Now, weren't you a scratch player?
No, I scratched my head and wondered where the ball went. But I've been a 7. I've been never lower than a 7 handicap.
Have you ever beaten Kenny G?
Not straight up, definitely not.
Yeah,
he's like 1 or 2. He floats between scratch and 2, depending on how much he's touring. And when he tours, he takes his clubs with him as well.
Right. He and Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper, one of my favorite people to golf with.
Yeah.
Nothing like you would expect. Just the nicest person. He only has good things to say about every swing that someone takes.
Yeah, but like every 3 holes, he eats an entire bat.
I didn't see that.
That's the weird deal.
But if I thought that would get me to scratch golf, I might say that. I don't know.
Hey, your friend John Capozzi says hello, by the way.
I'll say hello to John.
Yeah, sure will.
His son's doing really well in California now.
Yeah, sure is. He's told me some great Michael Bolton stories.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Again, I hope they're good. merciful.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Michael, thank you so much.
You're fantastic.
Hope you feel better.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
I hope so, Randy.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
This is the tale of Captain Jack Sparrow, pirate so brave on the seven seas, a mystical quest.
We'll be right back with the National Defense right after this word from Farmers Insurance. When you're dealing with life's ups and downs, it helps to know the ins and outs of insurance. Farmers Insurance has been sharing practical insurance knowledge for more than 89 years. At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. Find an agent at farmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
How do you thank the millions of men and women who have fought so bravely for our country over the years? At the Home Depot, we think it takes more than words. We believe the best way to show gratitude is to do gratitude. The Home Depot Foundation is committed to veterans and their families, improving their homes and their lives. Since 2011, we've invested $160 million to veteran causes and impacted over 26,000 veteran homes. By 2020, we'll grow that investment to $250 million. From simple wheelchair ramps to complete home makeovers, transitional housing, community support, we consider it a duty and a privilege to serve senior, wounded, and homeless veterans the best ways we know how. After all they've given us, it's the least we could do. $250 million by 2020. Doing more for veterans. Doing gratitude. The Home Depot. More saving. More doing.
Did you know WD-40 Company offers more than just a blue and yellow can? There's a line of high-performance WD-40 brand products developed for professionals that include degreasers, penetrants, and greases. The WD-40 Specialist Greases line includes a multi-purpose grease, a high-temperature grease, an extreme-pressure grease, and a marine-grade water-resistant grease. The products are interchangeable with each other, so they won't cause cross-contamination issues that compromise performance and effectiveness. Pick up a can at Home Depot and learn more about these and other WD-40 brand products at WD-40Specialist.com.
It's been called shell shock, war neurosis, and battle fatigue. Today, we call it post-traumatic stress disorder, and it affects 1 out of every 5 warriors returning from battle in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Wounded Warrior Project offers comfort and support for warriors with PTSD and all other scars of war, whether those scars are visible or hidden. Find out how to help, because for warriors, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. Please visit woundedwarriorproject.org.
All right, welcome to F-150 Radio. Today, the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar. We got Dean.
Hey, so Ford F-150 engineers are raising the bar, but I'm all about lowering the bar. Like I only brush my teeth on Monday.
Really?
Saves time.
Nice. The new Ford F-150 lineup raises the bar because, once again, it's number 1 in towing, payload, and torque.
I watch VHS tapes and never rewind.
And F-150 raises the bar with advanced thinking like a more powerful engine lineup and available EcoBoost engine technology.
I got a camcorder, a big one.
F-150 has available pre-collision assist with pedestrian detection. This truck can help make you more competent at everything.
Competent schmompetent.
Okay. This is the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
When properly configured, class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds GVWR based on Ford segmentation.
We're standing guard with the truth. The National Defense.
Welcome back to the National Defense. It's Randy Miller, and time now for another episode of Eye Insights with VSP. And Dr. Josh Baker is back with us again this week. And we're going to be talking about this cold weather and your eyes. Doctor, now that it is wintertime, what type of eye-related issues can we possibly face?
Well, probably one of the more important things to the patients themselves is the ability for cold weather, particularly cold, windy temperatures, to exacerbate their currently existing dry eye symptoms that they already have. Certainly, cold wind and difficult temperatures can cause our eyes to water and tear. In this situation, our eyes are actually creating more tears. The problem is they're not creating the right type of tears. And instead of being the tears that are on our eyes, they're tears that are on our cheeks, which is, leading to dryness. Another big concern is eye protection. So we know that we should be wearing eye protection all the time when we're outdoors to protect us from dangerous UV light. The challenges in the winter, particularly in areas with a lot of snow, is that there's a significant more amount of light being reflected up back at us from the ground, from the
right.
snow.
Oh, yeah.
Or oftentimes if you're out on the water as well,
yep.
leading to a significantly increased dose of UV rays from the sun. So it's critically important that when we're outside in the winter that we're wearing our eye protection. So if you're skiing, you want to make sure you have sunglasses
yep.
or UV-protected goggles on at all times. If you're out on the lake fishing, same type of concept. You want to have as much eye protection as you possibly can because the amount of UV rays you're being exposed to is much higher.
Yeah, it just always boggles my mind. You see somebody on a motorcycle and they have no eye protection on.
Yeah.
And for you, an optometrist, even more so, but some of those things you're talking about are sometimes pretty commonsensical. What about some of the other eye-related issues in the wintertime, and what do those conditions entail?
Yeah, I still think most of it is focused around the ability of the temperature to exacerbate, pre-existing conditions. So if you have complications from allergies, and now you add on cold weather on top of that, your symptoms are just going to be exacerbated. They're going to be more significant. We talked about the dry eye. One of the things we talk about the importance of is, the patients have this sense, well, my eyes are watering a lot when I'm outside, so why would I need to use artificial tears, right? They're correlating the excessive tearing that they're experiencing outside with something other than dry eye, when the reality is if their eyes are tearing a lot, that probably means their eyes are more dry than what they realize, because those tears aren't where they should be. And so we encourage them to maybe increase the amount of artificial tears they're using, or if they're not using an artificial tear, to go ahead and get started using an artificial tear.
Yeah, that's good information. We're talking to Dr. Josh Baker here in the National Defense. What is the best way? What can we do? What's the best way to keep your eyes healthy throughout the winter, besides obviously regular checkups?
Yeah, I think probably the most important thing you can do is making sure you have sunglasses on at all times. If you're out in the snow, make sure you have good sunglasses to protect you from the UV rays. If you're out skiing, if you're out doing outdoor events, keep your eyes in mind. We do a really good job of protecting ourselves from the weather in terms of bundling up and wearing cold weather gear. We don't always, think about our eyes when we're going into those environments. And I think making sure you're doing that as a part of your check before you go outside is important.
That's some great information and some great coverage that listeners can look forward to coming soon. Can you talk about your exciting news?
VSP is currently a vision carrier for hundreds of thousands through the Federal Dental and Vision Insurance Program, more commonly known as FedVIP. And now great news for military families and retirees. You'll be able to enroll in vision care coverage during federal benefit open season, which is November 12th through December 10th. Once enrolled, coverage will begin in January 2019. To do this, just visit choosevsp.com/TRICARE for more information.
So all they have to do is visit choosevsp.com/TRICARE for more information. Dr. Baker, thank you so much. We'll be back here next week with a brand new edition of Eye Insights with VSP Vision, right back here on the National Defense.
Welcome to F-150 Radio, the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar. Dean, go.
I'm all about lowering the bar, like I only brush my teeth on Monday.
The new Ford F-150 lineup raises the bar by being number one in towing, payload, and torque. It can make you more capable.
Capable schmapable.
The new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
When properly configured, classes full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds GVWR based on Ford segmentation.
Make room for the new year, starting in the garage at the Store More Save More event, going on now at the Home Depot, where you'll find an HDX 5-level black and yellow shelf unit at a special buy of only $29.88. It'll hold up to 150 pounds per shelf, making quick work of a messy garage, all with very little work on your part. The Store More Save More event, going on now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through February 4th, available in store and online while supplies last.
We're standing guard with the truth. The National Defense.